Hi guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another rules breakdown. And this week I'd like to cover Cthulhu Eternal. Now this is a very new game. I believe it was only released in December last year. It was only put on Drivethru RPG at the end of January this year. So it's very new indeed. But I believe, from reading up on it, that the rules are based on the Cthulhu game. Careful to stumble over that name. So it's a mature rule system, and it's based on BRP, which is the rule system behind Call of Cthulhu. So there's going to be a lot of similarities between that rule system, Call of Cthulhu, and this. But let's have a look through and see what the differences are. So, for skills, I've turned to page 37 of the rules, the using skills section. Now, first of all, it recommends resolving tests without dice. And if we flick on over here, it has suggestions. So it says you only roll dice when it's difficult, when the situation is unpredictable, or when there are consequences. In other times, you would then judge based on the skill level. So somebody who has like a 20% skill has only a little training. So 30% basic training, 40% years of experience, 60% decades of experience, or lifetime's mastery 80%. So when they're trying to figure something out, like using a history skill, if something's particularly obscure who had only been known by a true master of history, then they would need 60, maybe 80% on the skill to know it. Other people wouldn't. Whereas more common things, the knowledge of the Battle of Hastings being 1066 would be a very simple thing, so anybody with 20% or higher would know it. When you are then making dice rolls, you're rolling against the percentage skill. Now, it has suggestions here of bonuses and penalties. So, if something's very difficult, then you are taking 40% away from their skill. If it's relatively difficult, 20%. In most circumstances, normal. If it's a lot easier, then 20% bonus to the skill, and if it's so simple that you really shouldn't be rolling, it's a plus 40% to the skill. So you add or take away bonuses, and then it's as simple as rolling and seeing whether you roll underneath. However, you can also get critical successes. If you roll a 0-1 or any double digit under your skill, so if you've got a skill of 25, 0-1, double 1, double 2 would be the where you've rolled doubles, you gain a critical success. Critical successes are twice as good as an ordinary success. It can be taken in context of the action. In combat, critical success means double damage. But during an investigation, it might mean the action takes half as long. But that's as simple as it is. You're rolling against your skill when necessary. If you're rolling doubles, you are basically getting a critical success. Oh, and I almost forgot. Fumbles, as well as critical successes, you can get critical failures. So on the next page, we detail fumbles. So on page 40, a roll of double 0, or any failure where the dice digits match one another. So if your protecting skill is 50%, if you roll 55, 66, 77, 88, 99, or 100, a fumbled roll fails, no matter how high your protagonist's chance of success, and has additional catastrophic consequences. In a car chase, a fumble might mean your protagonist crashes, and a gunfight weapon might jam, or you might accidentally shoot yourself. The exact complications are up to the game moderator. Here are some possibilities. So we've got things like physical strain, where you lose 1d6, or temporarily use strength, constitution, or dex. Emotional burnout, you lose willpower, or intelligence, power, or charisma. Alienation, you offend somebody important. Exhaustion, you become exhausted. Distraction, you suffer minus 20% to your next test. Confusion, you make a major error and gain false information. So, as well as critical successes, you've got critical failures dealt with there. Now for initiative, I've turned to page 43 of the rules. The section marked the term. Combat is measured in turns. A turn is a few seconds, or as long as it takes everyone to complete a single action. The game moderator counts down by dex for all actions, from highest to lowest. Each character acts when his or her number comes up. If dex ties score, the actions occur at the same time or as the game moderator chooses. Now, it's as simple as that. you're going from high dex down to low dex. Everybody gets a single action. In combat, burst fire, so a gun which fires multiple rounds, is counted as a single action. So even a pistol where you can pull the trigger several times and get 3 or 4 shots out is a single action and tied into a single damage roll. You do not get multiple actions in this game. Now, in your turn, you can take different types of actions. You can aim, you can attack, you can do a called shot, you can do a disarm, you can dodge, you can escape, you can fight back, you can move, you can pin, you can wait, or you can do anything else. And it's as simple as that. Everybody gets one action, and dodging is counted as an action. So you can dodge or attack, but not both. Now, combat rolls work exactly the same as any other skill roll. So you're rolling against whatever relevant combat skills. But you've got combat modifiers. So if something's very long or very short range, you can get bonuses, plus 20% bonus for firing at short range, minus 20% for beyond base range, minus 40% to your skill for 2 times base range. Concealability, called shots, unusual attack conditions. So if the target's prone or running, you can get a minus to your skill. If they're moving very fast, so they're on a car or whatever, you get a minus 40% to your skill. And that's how it works. You add the modifiers onto the skill, and then you roll against it. Now, if somebody's dodging, it's just a matter of them succeeding on a dodge roll to be able to dodge your attack and totally avoid the damage. The rules are as simple as that. A successful dodge succeeds against any skill at all. Now you've hit a target, your damage is based on your weapon. Of course, doubling the dice if you've succeeded in getting a critical hit. So, you're rolling whatever dice. So bare hands and feet do 1d4 minus 1. A crossbow does 1d8 plus 2. A medium pistol does 1d10. You've got the base ranges built in there as well, but all your weapons are pages 49 and 50 in the rulebook. Now back on page 10, we've got the section here on hit points. Hit points represent how much damage your protagonist can sustain. Hit points equal con plus strength divided by 2 and rounded up. So you've got a number of hit points equal to that, and if we flick over to page 48, we can see about healing. So we've got different types of attacks here: stun, unconsciousness, permanent injury. So unconsciousness is when you're reduced to 2 or fewer HP. You fall unconscious. An unconscious protagonist is helpless and can be killed with a single attack without having to roll. Permanent injury: anytime your protagonist is reduced to 2 or fewer HP, make a con times 5 test. Failure indicates permanent injury. Game moderator selects a stat to be permanently reduced by the number on the lowest 10-sided dice of the failed con times 5 roll. Stats can only be reduced in this way to a minimum score of 3. If strength or con drop, adjust to HP accordingly. And death: if an attack brings your protagonist to 0 HP, he or she is dead. You do not go below 0 HP. You just die outright. And in the section below, we've got healing. So we've got resuscitation, using first aid skills to restore 1d4 hit points. We've got stabilization, which also heals 1d4, but fumble inflicts 1d4. And we've got treatment in hospital, how they heal up. Now, a lot of increasing your character or improving your character is based on non-rules related things. So building up contacts, building up resources, and they're detailed within the rules. But skills-wise improvement is based on failing dice rolls. So on page 29, we've got improving skills. We learn from failure. If your protagonist has at least 1% in any skill, it can improve when your protagonist attempts to use it and fails. On the character sheet, next to every skill except unnatural, there is a checkbox. When your protagonist tries to use a skill and fails, put a check mark in that skill's box. At the end of each game session, add 1d4 percentage point to every skill that's a check next to it, and erase the check. So every game session, you improve skill which you failed at by 1d4. And that's how you progress. You don't have experience or levels or anything like that. It's all based on failure. So that's a very brief look through the rules of Cthulhu Eternal. They're very simple, they're very streamlined. They're not exactly to my taste. They have one of the big problems with Call of Cthulhu early editions that I don't like, where you're adding modifiers to skills, which can make skill rolls impossible for lower skilled people when you are just making them challenging for the people with higher skills. Later editions of Cthulhu apparently added multipliers, so the target numbers would be double your skill or half your skill, depending on ease or difficulty of tasks, instead of just adding or minusing a set amount. And I definitely prefer that. So these do feel a bit older and clunkier, but they are very streamlined, they are very fast rules. Anyway, as usual, I think I've whittled on for quite long enough, so thank you very, very much for watching. But, most of all, as always, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.